Presentations this weekend, and I'd love to extend my thanksgiving to all of you for being patient and tolerant of these very long presentations. I don't know whether everything was good, exciting, or boring, or whatever, but I mean, keep praying for me, please. This is number 5. We have 5 and 6 for the Christian sexuality education. And I thought of giving you practical presentations that we do in our service. This would be to juniors. Juniors, when I say juniors, mean grade 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, something like that. Maybe 7, 8, 9 sometimes. And this presentation has been given several times in different churches. I think maybe probably in Canada too. I remember I did it at least once in the Church of Ottawa and maybe in Halifax too. But in America we do that very frequently. This is the real presentation. It's called Your Questions. I elected this from St. Mary and St. Mark Church in Carmel, Indiana, which is in Indianapolis, Indiana. The junior class is Saturday, November 25th, 2017. Now I will assume that you are the students. Okay? It's like role playing. Okay. How is everybody today? Good. Do you think you are smart? I keep asking this question over and over again. Are you smart? If you are, please stay here.
We're staying.
If you don't think you are smart, stay here too. Okay, no problem. Okay, you will understand why. This is the human mind. And human minds should think and feel. But sometimes human minds don't know everything. That's why we need sometimes to ask questions. Are you following?
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, it doesn't matter. We used to ask my dad and my mom about things that I don't know or I don't understand. What about asking questions today and see how we can answer these questions? How are you today? This is my first question. How are you? Do you feel okay? Do you think you are happy or not? Anybody doesn't feel happy? Raise your hands. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I hope by the end of today, our presentation, all of you will feel happy. Okay, again, do you feel your family? Your family now, not you. Do you think your family is happy too or not? Yes or no? Okay, stop here. This is, we are now, me and you. Why I'm asking these questions? My objectives here is to engage our children in what is relevant to them, what is interesting to them, because this is the gap that Sunday school teachers, many of them, feel all the time. Like I am on one side, أنا في وادي and my students in another valley or wadi or another side. Always there is some detachment. because I don't, or I forgot how those kids may feel or may understand in their age. Do I think, do I speak the language that they understand? But much more important, do I speak things that are important and significant to their lives or not? So, the objective of questions and answers here are about how do you start to work on their problems. Always, always take a note of that, remember that. You can't solve problems, any problems, human problems, unless you touch the feeling that is there behind their problems. Make sense? You tell me there is some problem between my dad and mom and nobody's happy at home. But my question to you, to each one of you, how do you feel about that? Where are you in all of that? As a child, I'm talking to 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old, 14-year-old. How do you feel about that? When you live in a family and you know that your family is not happy. That's how you open the doors. This is the key. When you touch their feelings, you know what would they do immediately? They listen. Oh Lord, this guy or this lady understand how I feel. You're talking about my issues, my daily issues. I'm living in a family where there's argument, fighting, swearing, screaming, violence, whatever. I feel threatened, I feel insecure, etc., etc. You have to touch the feeling. Okay? And so on. Okay. Back to this lesson. And then I bring some pictures. Say, oh, what do you think? Is this a happy family? I think even the dog is happy, he's laughing. Yeah, of course, that's a joke, yeah. And then another picture, everybody is so smiling. You know, you can use these audiovisual things like to stimulate them. Okay, today we ask two questions. First question is, what should I do? But the second question is about one word, why? Usually, why is not a question, but I am using why here to stimulate their senses, make them focused, and listen to what we can discuss in our session. Okay, sometimes, always, I start with a statement. Sometimes I feel like I'm not happy and I'm a little sad. You know, when I put a statement like that, look into their faces, look into their feelings, their body language, and immediately if you ask the other question, which is, anybody feels like that? You know why? They are innocent children. They can't hide their feelings. And you know, when they raise their hands, sometimes I feel like I am a little sad, and they raise their hands, This is in itself therapy. This is therapy. This is relieving. This is comforting. When you check on my feelings and you tell me you're sad. Of course. Yes. Thank you. And you may, no wonder if you find some one of them, a boy or a girl, usually a girl may start to cry, especially if they had some sort of issues, very serious issue with their family. Boys actually benefit more because boys are more guarded in expressing their feelings. But this is how you mobilize, make them move, emotionally move. Sometimes I feel like I'm not happy and I'm a little sad. What should I do? What should I do? And you know, in real life, pray. First, confess, have communion. Okay, but most of them would say the word pray, and that's good because it's your chance to connect them to prayer. How prayer would make you feel better, or solve your problem, or make your family happy. This is a kind of open discussion. And kids, by the way, when you talk about their feelings in real life, they listen. And then you may introduce some examples. Anybody knows about anyone who had a problem and prayed and the problem was solved from the Bible? That's like Bible trivia. Okay. They listened before to stories, Saint Mary and Saint George and Saint Mercurius and Saint Damiana and all those. Just help them connect with the Bible. Someone from the Bible, someone from the church history. That's how you bring teaching, church teaching into real life. Because this is one of our objectives, is to connect our children spiritually to real life. Make religion life, living religion. Our Lord Jesus Christ said that the words I speak are spirit and life. الكلام اللي بكلمكم بيه وروح وحياة. John 10. So this is one question. Second question. I spend too much time doing bad stuff. Sounds familiar. Yeah. Especially, I mean, what's the purpose of this question or this statement? I spend too much time doing bad stuff. You are working on something we spoke about yesterday called conscience, ضمير. I need to check internally my inner side whether I feel bad about what I do or not. And most likely all of them will risk. I'm serious. All of them will raise hands. Anybody feels like that? Yes. You are connecting them slowly but surely to the Holy Spirit within them at a very early age, because they know what is good, what is bad, what's right, what's wrong. Sometimes I feel like I am a bad one. What is this about? This is very important, this question. Because this question is very critical. The previous question worked on the conscience. But this one works on what we call self-image. Self-image. One of our purposes of Christian education in general, one major purpose, is to help our children develop a healthy, positive self-image. You know why? Because, generally speaking, anybody with a negative self-image, especially young people, that can be life-threatening to them in terms of spirituality. If I feel I am a bad one, a bad boy or a bad girl, then what will come next? Then, who cares? Who cares? I'm a bad one. And actually, many of young children and young people and youth, teenagers, leave God and leave church because of that. If you ask me, I tell you this is a major problem, because they were not raised to have a positive self-image. Sometimes we think, and this is a very deceiving point, be careful, listen to that. Sometimes we think it's good for all of us to feel like we are bad, like we are sinners all the time. Well, the big difference here, when I say I'm a sinner, I know I am a sinner, but does it mean being a sinner I should develop a negative self-image? I say, who cares, because I am bad, then I am a loser. Big difference. I'm a sinner, but thank you, Lord, you redeemed me through the cross. I come every week to have your body, holy body and holy blood, and I unite with you through Holy Communion, and I get the forgiveness of sins. I get the renewal and the new creation in you. Still I'm a sinner, but I can't consider being a sinner mean that I'm a bad one, let me do whatever. A bad one here means that I can get lost. I'm a bad one, especially in their language. Because, remember, those kids don't live with you, they live with their parents. And you don't know what their parents may say to them. You are a bad girl, you are a bad boy. And those kids, by the way, are very sensitive to those titles that we give to our children. Many of them grow up and come to us for counseling and ask them, how was your childhood? sin. We all do things that make us feel bad. So what is this question about? What's feeling here? Feeling what? Guilt and shame. Guilt and shame. Feeling bad may make me feel guilty or feel embarrassed of myself. But when you say that and you ask, what should I do? Think something. Yeah, thank you. What should I do? What should you do, Habibi, when you do something that would make you feel bad? Open discussion. Pray, confess, have communion, talk to Abuna, talk to my counselor, talk to my dad and mom, or all of the above. This is great, because you are touching basically on one of the very, basic human feelings and emotions. Guilt and shame. Those were the first feelings that our great-grandparents Adam and Eve felt after sinning. Felt shame and guilt. And that feeling will be with us until we leave this world, this life. So we need to teach our children how to manage those feelings, because many of them, especially I'm talking about that stage, grade 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Age 9, 10 through age 13, 14. Very sensitive to guilt, especially those who hit teenage. They suffer from temptation, they suffer from easy falls, sexual impulses, sexual failures, etc., etc. They are impulsive, مندفعين, rushy, and they do things quickly and then they regret. They say things that they feel sorry after that for saying, etc., etc. So this statement would cover all of that. Help them. If this lesson is too long for your kids, don't worry about the time. You can divide it into two easily, because there are so many questions here. Following a statement. We are putting statements, one of them followed by a question for the kids. Sometimes I feel a little scared that something bad may happen. What is the feeling here? What? Anxious, fear, worry. By the way, when you put this statement and you say, anybody feels like that? Every time. All of them. Maybe not at the same time. Maybe 50%, then 10 more percent, and at the end, most of them will raise their hands. Even those who don't raise their hands. I'm just being shy a little bit, which is okay. But you're addressing here another basic feeling. Fear, worry, scare, and anxiety. Feel a little scared that something bad may happen. Not all the kids probably feel like that, but many of them feel like that, especially if our kids are being raised in families where dad or mom is somebody who is very anxious, or a very worried person. Because an anxiety is contagious. An anxiety is like infectious. مرض معدي. When we live among anxious parents, or one or the other parents is anxious, a worried person, children most likely will get that problem in their life. Exactly like if one of them is a perfectionist, one or the other children will become a perfectionist later on. So, when you talk to them or you ask them about fear, you try to help them find out some outlets. How can I manage my fear, my worry, my scare? You don't know exactly what's going on at home, but at least, in some cases, I would ask one or the other students to stand and talk out loud, especially if I see that one of them is so courageous and outcoming. Okay, tell me, Habibi, how do you feel and what's going on? Yes, uncle, when I am home, Daddy says that we are going to have an earthquake. This is common in California. Yes. And I feel scared. I wake up in the morning and thank God we didn't have an earthquake that last night. But I feel like that. Just an example. So, what should we do? What should I do? What is the best thing to manage with scare and fear? Sometimes you may help them with some biblical readings, like you're preparing one of the Psalms that you can read to them. A psalm that can empower us, like the Lord is my light and my strength, and not رب نوري قوتي أو خلاصي, my salvation. Whom shall I fear? رب نوري وخلاصي ممن أخاف. ونفضل نعيدها. We keep repeating that verse. Very simple words for all kids. The Lord is my light and my salvation, or my strength. When we read that and we feel the presence of the Lord, we feel strong, we feel empowered. We don't worry, whatever may happen. Or that psalm that it says something about if the earth quakes, الأرض إن تزلزلت, أو انقلبت الجبال إلى البحار. Yeah, prepare something from the Bible to support your talk, which is good. Sometimes I have bad thoughts that bother me. We don't know what kind of thoughts. But here is a broad issue. Bad thoughts can be fearful thoughts, scary thoughts, lustful thoughts, thoughts of depression and want to die or something like that, sad thoughts, anything like that. That's good. What should we do? Sorry. What should we do? Again, you are guiding them slowly but definitely, surely, to connect it to the Word of God. Okay, this is one of your objectives, one of your goals in Sunday school service, to connect your kids to the Word of God, to the Bible. In God you find relief, you find comfort, you find support. You find strength to fight all those evil thoughts and bad thoughts. Maybe it's a chance to explain to them why we love to sign the cross, the sign of the cross. And what is meant by the sign of the cross? How the sign of the cross empowered somebody like St. George or other saints, etc., etc. Okay. Or you may guide them when you have those bad thoughts, leave your place, go and talk to your dad or mom or brother or sister. Don't stay in your place. Change your position, change your setting, change anything. That's how you fight evil thoughts sometimes. You are prepared with answers, but still you engage them first by asking them so that they may talk about their own thoughts and their own feelings. I feel like that I like someone more than others. Now we get into relationships. Yeah. What do you think? Do you think that asking this question to 10-year-old would be appropriate? Of course. Boys and girls now, they start talking about love and affection and crush, all those things at a very early age. Yesterday I mentioned a story like that. The girl who was like grade 1 and she had a crush on a third grader. So, it doesn't mean here that you want to tell them that when you like someone more than others, this means wrong. Please be sensitive when you start to talk about feelings. Unfortunately, some of us are confused when it comes to that feeling of love or like someone more than others. Like I have a special one that I like more. Whether he's a boy and I'm a girl, or he's a girl and I'm a boy, doesn't matter. You know why? As a principle, basically, feelings are feelings. You cannot deny anybody to feel a feeling. You cannot say to anybody that your feeling is wrong. It's wrong to say that. Because, think about it. You are depriving my right to feel. It's not the feeling that is right or wrong. Period. You know what is right or wrong?
The reaction.
How I act. How I act upon that feeling. How I interact with that feeling. How I make a decision of action based on that feeling. Makes sense? Anybody is opposed to what I say? Please. Feeling is a feeling. When a boy would come and say, I like that girl more than other girls, that's his feeling. When a girl says, I like that boy more than any other girl, that's a feeling. But the question here is always, what do you want to do with your feeling? How would you invest in that feeling? How would you let this feeling control your life or your decisions or? Big decision, big time difference, I mean. So, what should I do? What should I do? And this can open a discussion about feelings, attachments, and other issues like love, marriage, relationship, dating, etc., etc. Even at a young age, yes. But if the group who are listening to you are different stages, like you have a 10 and 14, the 10 probably won't think the same way like the 14. So maybe we cannot, work on that feeling much unless we have a more limited or restricted group. But still, the objective of asking that question or putting that statement is telling them that I understand how you feel sometimes. You know, you will be surprised if you do a lesson like that with juniors. Just divide them into two groups. Maybe you can do it like, grade 4, 5, 6, and then you do it again with grade 7, 8, and 9. But you will be surprised after you finish. Those kids will come to you and ask to talk to you privately about their feelings, about something that's bothering them, about their early relationship that started to grow. And sometimes one of them may come and talk to you about emotions, strong emotions towards a same gender person. Like, I love this boy, or I love this girl, I love this boy and I'm a boy, I love this girl and I'm a girl. Which you shouldn't meet those comments by showing surprise or shock, because that will lead into fixation. That young person is still thinking in a very innocent way, and you don't want to complicate that things for them. So be careful in your reaction and your responses. Sometimes they talk in a very innocent way. It doesn't mean that because they love someone more that they are going to have sex with that person. No, not necessarily. Don't let your fears control your reactions, please. My relationship with my parents is not always good. Now we get into family relationships. Of course, not all of the kids would raise their hands, but some of them. And what would be the best thing to tell them when they raise hands? You need to talk about your family issues with someone like me, like who, the best divorcing or whatever, don't let the child suffer those problems by themselves, please. Because children carry a heavy weight of fear and anxiety when they live in a broken family. Help them go and talk and speak up about their feelings to Abuna. And Abuna, this would help him too, to do something in that family issue. Sometimes I feel scared of telling my parents everything. That's another. Telling my parents everything. What should you do? How would you guide these kids asking that question? What should I do? Yes?
Validate.
Validate the feelings, number one. And make them feel they are understood. It's okay to feel like that, and it's not the end of the world to feel like that. Maybe they are worried to tell their parents everything because their parents won't understand. Or their parents may react in a very wrong way, punish them harshly. And it's etc., etc. So, this is the issue here. The issue is to help them talk to somebody else. Could be you, and it could be their father of confession. And try lightly to warn them against telling their peers. It's not healthy for kids to talk to their peers about their family issues because their peers might not be of any help. And this is good. You know why this lesson, this presentation is good for kids? Because they know that their feelings can be validated, which means that you, Sunday school teacher, understand my feelings and my problems. And this can be a great way to start individual counseling with each one of them. Khidma Fardiyya. This is exactly what's meant by doing Khidma Fardiyya, individual counseling. Because nobody will come to you unless I won't come to you unless I feel that you can understand me and you can help me. When you tell me that you understand me and my feelings, of course I love you. I will come and tell you everything. And so on. Sometimes I feel my parents are not in peace together. Same thing, yeah. Conflicts at home. They argue or fight a lot. Talk to Abuna about that. I feel like I was abused. What do you think of this question?
Sexually abused?
Don't elaborate. Don't say any details.
Just
abused.
What if they ask what abuse?
Mistreated. Huh?
I think we should ask, what do you mean by abuse?
They all know.
Yeah, I mean, which kind of abuse? Physical abuse?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Oh,
It doesn't matter. It can be even emotional abuse. Like, I mean, I live in a home where everybody swears and cusses at me. Shitima. Scared. Some cases, I remember cases I dealt with, like three boys, not girls even, living in a family, and daddy, once he comes home, everybody would hide quickly under the bed. Because once daddy's home, he screams. He scares everybody. And mommy called me to come and take care of that problem long ago. And I remember when I sat and I listened to the boys, they were age probably 10, 12, 14. And they said, we are so scared of our dad. He doesn't hit us, but he is so scary when he screams. That's verbal abuse and emotional abuse. If you like to elaborate a little bit about abuse, you can say, I feel like someone hurt me. That's another version. I feel like someone hurt me. Makes the same thing. What should I do? What should they do? What do you think? The objective here again is to help the abused child to feel validated. I like that word. Feel validated and affirmed, encouraged to speak up, to open the dirty wounds and to start working on them. Isn't that what we deal in our offices as counselors all the time? People come to say, I am hurt, I was abused, I feel bad about everything, I'm very depressed. And you understand when you there's somebody, if anybody would raise hands and want to talk in front of others about a personal experience, try to be very careful, be cautious, because you don't want anybody to bully that person later on. You tell them that. If you feel abused or anything, just you can wait and talk to me, and they talk to me later on, or we can go to Abuna and talk about that. Encourage your children to speak up about their experiences as early as possible. It's very important. Dealing with abuse is much easier at age 3 than age 30. At age 10 than age 20. Much easier. The scars won't be formed at that time, early time yet. The more you lock on those issues, the more the hurt will be.
Excuse me, doctor.
Yes.
If it's like an emotional abuse and it's can I talk to the family if we're relative?
Yes, absolutely. If you feel like the child had been abused by anyone, it's your duty to protect the child if the abuse is still going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's actually, I don't know if I did that right or wrong. My niece called me a while ago that she got hurt because like an argument between her and her mom. I did validate her feelings that she's hurt, but because her mom is my sister, I wasn't able to just blame her. I did validate that it's hurtful to be was carried that way. However, I just recommended that she go back to her mom and be open and talk to her about her action, say that hurt me, and talk about it. But I didn't talk to my sister about that. Is that right or wrong? Should I have? Because she said, please don't talk to my mom.
Is she a minor?
Unfortunately not.
If she's not a minor, then you need to keep respecting her wish. If she's 18 and above, don't talk to her sister. Just keep you close to her. She confides to her. She have confidence in you that You keep that level of trust between you and her.
But she doesn't feel like her mom will handle her right if she go talk to her that she's hurt.
That-
And
no.
I couldn't advise my sister either.
Okay, but I mean, your niece needs to develop what we call self-assertiveness, speak up her mind. She's an adult. She needs to deal with that personally with her mom, okay? Unless she invites you to help her. If she invites you to help her, that's another story. But if she says no, then you encourage her to become more assertive and help her mom. If you are not qualified to help her, then suggest that she may get some professional counseling to help her become more assertive. Parents are not gods, are not perfect. We all make mistakes. But at least our children should not pay the price for our mistakes.
I tried to tell her that we raise them up at the best of our knowledge. But if she doesn't address that, how her mom will know that she's hurt that bad, right? But I kind of like debate with myself, should I go to my sister? So she kind of like
You can talk to
be
your
cautious
sister.
about it, but she said don't talk to my mom. I told her.
Well, you can talk to her, your sister without referring to that person, your niece. Yeah. You can just talk in a general way. How do you think? What do you think? How do you feel about this? Just help her indirectly away from.
Really true.
Yes.
Okay.
You want to help her with something. Yes.
What if the servant himself or herself is a parent and
What's the first thing you said, servant?
what if the servant or the counselor,
Yes.
whoever like we're addressing,
Yeah.
is like was abusing his child either like verbally or emotionally, and the parent has an insight about that and feels bad and guilty after the action towards his child or her child. How do parents are supposed to kind of correct that towards their children? Do they need to kind of apologize or say sorry, or do they need to kind of speak up to their child about how did they feel when the parent was abusive, or like I don't know how do parents have to deal with abuse in general, like when it happens, because sometimes it happens without us feeling it.
Absolutely. You know, thank you for the question first. It's very important. Generally, the rule says parents make mistakes. Parents should apologize to their children without excuse, without giving themselves any excuse. When I commit something against my child, I go to my child and say, I am sorry, I had no excuse, no reason to make that behavior against you. I am really sorry. Please accept my apology and tell me, I want to see and feel that you forgave me. I'm giving you a summary of another lesson about fixing parental mistakes. That's a big time thing, you know. But this is the rule. Help parents apologize. Sometimes it's difficult for parents to apologize because our culture says that. You know what our culture says? Parents should never apologize to their children because parents are always good.
Parents are always right.
Always right. Never make mistakes. Okay. I had funny stories, funny sad stories about that, but I don't want to waste your time. Yeah.
No, you can say it.
Huh?
Tell us the story.
I know.
Tell you a story? Okay.
I apologize though.
Upfront.
Okay, quick story. That I remember that case. It happened years ago in Florida. I was serving there, and there was a young lady. She was probably 17, 18. Once she hit age 18, she came to Abuna, and I was there by chance. She told Abuna, I'm going to leave home. I'm 18 now. I won't stay one more day. I am fed up with my father. Very abusive, emotionally abusive father. Though he loved her, but still. So Abuna called me and said, please come, you're here in town, and let us have the father and talk to him. Father came, and Abuna told him, you know, gentleman, your daughter just turned 18. And if you don't fix your problems with her, she would leave. And Abuna didn't tell him when she was going to leave, but he said, one day she would leave home and you will regret that. So the father said that literally. انتوا عايزيني اقول للبنتي انا اسف؟ هو في اب يعتذر لعياله؟ صعيدي يعني. So we felt like there was no hope trying to. So what happened? The girl, I was still there, decided to leave after midnight secretly from home. And thank God she found a great servant lady, khadima yani, servant, who took her in her car and drove her to another state away from home. And of course, father woke up the following morning to find his daughter gone. So he broke into weeping and tears and crying. هاتولي بنتي تاني. Yeah.
مين بقى اللي وشه خبط في الحيط ساعتها؟ الأب. That's what the parents here don't realize.
Yes.
They are the losers,
Yes,
not the kids.
they are the losers. Anyhow, but that was a turning point in that family's life. يعني كل حاجة بقت كويسة بعد كده. Thank God. Okay.
Yeah, Doctor, I just want to make a comment. Just want to go back to the Sunday school teacher and asking the question and trying. Maybe this will not be acceptable by some parents, that you start encouraging the child to do this. Although we are right and you are right, but maybe some parents will react negatively to that reaction. How do you feel about that?
Some fathers too.
Yeah.
No, like fathers.
Yeah, fathers and mothers or
No, fathers.
Fathers.
You mean the
Abuelas.
kids?
Oh, fathers. Oh, maybe fathers too.
I think if you are supported as a khadim, as a servant by the church, and you are doing this service in the name of the church, then it is the parents' problem with the church, not with you as a servant.
But the question is, are those servants qualified to respond to the feelings in the right way? Because Hadratak mentioned,
Yes.
You can counsel them.
Yes.
Are they qualified? Do they have the experience? I don't know. I'm just raising a question.
Absolutely, that's what it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, to prepare a servant to become a servant, part of it is to understand how to deal with human soul and human mind in a simple way. They are not psychologists, they are not even professional counselors or anything, but even, I mean, in America we used to call church servants as church counselors. They are not counselors in the meaning, the professional meaning, but still we consider them like counseling because they bring, who is a counselor, by the way? Who is a counselor? Who is a counselor? What is meant by the word counselor? Do you remember That verse in Isaiah 6:9 or 6:10